Morning, Fairhaven. Brad Fish, Veteran Service Officer for the town. This Memorial Day is going to be a little different than in the past. There won't be a parade, and this is what we're doing in the interim for parade. First thing I'm going to do is read off the names of our veterans from Fairhaven who have passed this year. Starting with the Air Force: John Anthony Aguiar, Joseph Stephen Chico, Joseph Giamato, Richard Peter Santos, Raymond Senna, Robert Williams, David Wooten. From the Army: Abel Alves, John Alves, Donald Brazil, Michael DaCosta, Lindsay Gifford, Milton Healy, James Mahoney, Anthony Mark, Edward Martin, Ellie Newsom, Joachim Pacheco, John Pendergast, Bradford Pierce, Herbert Pope, Richard Rigo, Gaston St. Laurent. The Coast Guard: Robert Vieira. The Marines: Manuel Avila, Joseph Coelho, Antonio Rodriguez, Anthony Sylvia. Next, from the Navy, we have Roger Bergeron, Kenneth Bertaldo, Jay Bissonette, Albert Borges, Earl Couch, Antone Gomes, Kenneth Leno, Dominic Letourneau, Robert McGrath, Joe Pereira, Richard Riley, Kenneth Roberge, George Cyrus, Alfred W. Sylvia, and James Walker. And at this time, I'd like to have our usual George come up and speak, who usually is the one that usually puts on the parade. So I want to get him up here so he can say a few words to everybody. George?
Thank you, Brad. I'd just like to say there's a lot of fear around now, especially among our veterans. If you're sitting home now, or you're in a nursing home or an assisted living, I'd like to offer you a salute and show you that we're thinking about you every day, and you will never be forgotten. Detail, attend hot, precinct, arms. 2. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce Wayne Oliveira now, Fairhaven Firefighter.
Hello, and just a special remembrance to our commander from the Fairhaven Village Militia who passed away this past March. We want to have a special memorial for Ellsworth Silveria Jr., who died suddenly. We want to thank him for his years of service to the Fairhaven Village Militia. When you heard the loud cannon roar at the Riverside Cemetery, that was one of Ellie's responsibilities, and he took a lot of pride in doing that. We also want to thank him for his education, promoting history throughout the town as a reenactor. So we thank him and we remember him during these special times. Thank you.
I want to wish everybody a very happy Memorial Day. And in memory of my father, who was a veteran, and the many other veterans that have passed, I want to make sure that we remember all the veterans that have passed on this Memorial Day. Typically, we read General Logan's orders at Riverside Cemetery, and today we're at Veterans Park to read the memorial of General Logan's orders. General Logan's orders. Headquarters, Grand Army of the Republic, Washington, D.C., the 5th of May, 1868. The 30th day of May, 1868, is designated for the purpose of strewing of flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion, and those bodies now lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land. In this observance, no form of ceremony is prescribed, but posts and comrades will in their own way arrange such fitting services and testimonials or respect as circumstances permit. We are organized, comrades, as our regulations tell us, for the purpose, among other things, of preserving and strengthening those kind and fraternal feelings which have bound together the soldiers, sailors, and Marines who united in the late rebellion. What aid to assure this result than by cherishing tenderly the memory of heroic dead, who made their breast a barricade between our country and its foes. Their soldiers' lives were the reveille of freedom to erase and change, and their deaths a tattoo of rebellious tyranny in arms. We should guard their graves with sacred vigilance. All that consecrated wealth and taste of the nation can add to their adornment and security is but a fitting tribute to the memory of her slain defenders. Let no wanton foot trade rudely on such hallowed grounds. Let pleasant paths invite the coming and going of reverent visitors and fond mourners. Let no vandalism or avarice or neglect, no ravage of time, testify to the present or to the coming generations that we have forgotten as a people the cost of a free and undivided republic. If other eyes grow dull, and other hands slack, and other hearts cold in the solemn trust, ours shall keep it well as long as the light and warmth of life remains in us. Let us then, at the time of appointed, gather around their sacred remains and garland the passionless mounds above them with the choicest flowers of springtime. Let us raise above them the dear old flag that saved them from dishonor. Let us in this solemn presence renew our pledges to aid and assist those whom they left among us as a sacred charge upon the nation's gratitude, the soldiers and sailors, widow and orphan. It is this purpose of the Commander-in-Chief to inaugurate this observance with the hope that it will be kept up from year to year while a survivor of this war remains to honor the memory of his departed comrades. He earnestly desires the public press to call attention to this order and lend its friendly aid in bringing into it a notice of our comrades in all parts of the country in a time for stimulus compliance therewith. Department commanders will use every effort to make this order effective. This is by John A. Logan, Commander-in-Chief, by command of the Chairman Adjunct General. Once again, I wish you all a very happy Memorial Day, and I thank our veterans that are here and that have passed. Thank you and God bless.
We all are living in some very difficult times as a result of the COVID-19 emergency, and a lot of things had to be changed around, and one of those things, unfortunately, was the annual Memorial Day Parade. I enjoyed walking with the selectmen and other town officials in that parade on an annual basis, and mainly because it gave us an opportunity to recognize the service and valor of our veterans, particularly those from Fairhaven. My Uncle Dan was killed in World War II in Iwo Jima, and Memorial Day is often an opportunity for me to reflect on his life. Obviously, I never met him, but I just want to remember him and his sacrifices that he gave to his country, as well as the sacrifices of all our veterans and their families as a result of trying to protect, or definitely protecting, our country and the life and liberty that we enjoy. Thank you.
407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it, far and above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Next, I'd like to read the proclamation from Governor Baker. Whereas while the nation was still recovering from the horrors of the Civil War, people in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor those Union and Confederate soldiers who had given their lives celebrating the first Decoration Day. And whereas after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in the service of their country, renamed Memorial Day. The last Monday in May is when people remember and honor the memory of all men and women who fought and died in all American wars and conflicts. And whereas throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts citizens have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and our way of life. And whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to country is an inspiration to all Americans. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now, therefore, I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 25th, 2020 to be Memorial Day. Thank you. Next, we'll do the reading of Memorial Day prayer and playing of taps, which will conclude our Memorial Day ceremonies for 2020. With a sober heart, we come before you this Memorial Day. We pause for a moment and call to mind all the men and women who have died in the service of our nation since 1776. Dear God, please look with mercy on our brave and selfless brothers and sisters who did not shirk from this task but gave themselves completely to the cause of defending and protecting us all. Bless all who have given their lives for the sake of liberty and grant them eternal rest with you. We remember also our brave men and women now serving in the armed forces, both at home and abroad. Send out your angels to protect them all. Help them discharge their duties honorably and well. Please bring them safely home to their families and their loved ones. Amen.
Just want to say, sad that we're not going to have a parade to honor our veterans this year. And you people are the real heroes. I'm honored to know and have many of you as friends. I know here in the fire service we have some veterans on the department with us, and even though we respond to emergency calls to all the people in town and everything, you are the real heroes, and my thoughts and prayers are with all of you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Mattessich from the Fairhaven Fire Department. We just would like to express our thanks to all the veterans and honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Have a safe and happy Memorial Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all veterans and your families for your sacrifice for our freedom.
Hi, I'm the Harbormaster in the town of Fairhaven. I would like to thank the veterans and their families for the services that they've gave to our country.
On Memorial Day, we honor our fallen men and women of America's armed services. With courage and bravery, they gave the ultimate sacrifice to provide all Americans with liberty and freedom. They are the true heroes that will never be forgotten.